we start to have this? And I'm listening to myself twice. And the second thing, yeah, it's a tight echo, yes. Yes, and the second thing you need after the political line, so to shape the stuff, is a series, a bodies of actors working together. So I'm going to talk about the case of Wallonia, and I promise that this will be during 2 slides only, because I need that to bounce on the challenges. But what we have done here, I would say replicate to the federal. So what we had a few years ago was a duplication of actors from the training, from the industry, and from the research. And what we have decided to do is to unify them in a unique, let's say, a unique entity, which names is CyberWall. And CyberWall calls to the Cyber Coalition. So this brings all the actors of Wallonia together to the federal, let's say, landscape. The Flemish government was doing the same, and now I think we are aligned to do something good at the level of a country. And of course, you need the political line, you need the actors, and by actors, you don't necessarily mean people coming from universities. Of course, you need them. You need people from the universities and from the research centers, but you also need the entire training sector. Because if you don't have talents, you don't have the protection, and somehow the country get lost. So you need that. You need that the companies, that let's say the socioeconomic sector gets aligned with you. So you need to have them on board too. You need the militaries. You need to talk to the militaries, to the secret services, even though they don't do directly cybersecurity. They are part of the ecosystem. You need the federal police, and you need, of course, the cybersecurity center. And on the top of this, you need to be able to talk to all the actors, let's say, of the social domain, which means hospital, public administration, all those people who get attacked every day. And this is actually your first cybersecurity challenge. This is to make sure that you align all those people and that they get to talk together. It takes time. This is the most difficult part. When you have this, you have a lot of things that are done when they start to talk together. When you have them, you can think of the challenges. And you have challenges coming from research, from innovation, from training. I'm going to detail them. And I'm going to tell you what we are, I think, in Belgium good at. In the past, we have a huge, let's say, history of being good at cybersecurity, at design. This formal verification stuff in where you take a model of your system and you validate requirements. We have a huge school of this in Belgium. It's on the whole countries. All the universities have this. We also have cryptography. Bart Prenel is going to give a talk about this. So cryptography is something we are very good at since more than 40 years in Belgium. And even the American people come here to get, let's say, Belgium advices. So we are good at this. We are also good in manual certification, manual schemes, and this is good news for NIS2 that is going to arrive. We are good in malware analysis. We were among the first countries actually to create antiviruses. And actually one of the first malware was propagated by someone coming from Belgium. So this part of the story is maybe less interesting. It was propagated in a time that there was no internet, if you don't know this. So it was a floppy disk in envelope sent all around the world. And at that time you would have to pay in a bank account in Panama. It was in the beginning of the 90s. So we are good in sending malware, and we are also good in protecting our stuff. And of course, we are good with data protection, even so people claim that the Belgium state is not doing well. We are actually very good at this. But this is somehow the past of cybersecurity, and new challenges are coming into the picture, and we need to take them into account. And many of them are actually linked to AI, like, testing and AI together to detect vulnerabilities in system, because vulnerabilities in large-scale system, this is very hard for a human. You have interconnected system, this is hard for a human to guess. Maybe AI can help us. And we need to talk about AI today because this is the AI week. So let me emphasize this. To detect malware, we have so many malware that this is also good to talk about malware analysis, and I'm going to bounce on the federated learning part of it. We also talk nowadays about cyber range. How many people know what a cyber range is? Raise your hand if you know what this is. Okay, you see, this is one of the two stuff that the EU Commission wants to promote in the next 5 years, and maybe only 20% of the room knows about them. So we need to move forward about this. Of course, we cannot talk about cybersecurity without talking about quantum computing, quantum algorithm, quantum scheme, key exchanges. This is also a key challenge for Belgium. This afternoon, I'm going to give a talk at ESA about this. And again, Belgian people are well known for that. And of course, we have all those access policies and all the challenges coming from the medical domain. And at the end, there is a new domain that is coming into the picture that many people do not see. This is hardware. During a long time, cybersecurity has been on the software side. With all the cameras and all the sensors that you have in those cities, you need to talk about hardware and hardware attack. So in a few lines, what are we doing now? We are chasing malware with artificial intelligence, and we are using federated learning because people are willing to exchange their good practices about antiviruses, but they are not willing to share the malware and the knowledge they have on extracting signature from malware. You know that malware is just a virus. If you want to track a malware, you need to find the DNA of the malware, like the DNA of a virus, and you need to put this somehow in an antivirus. People are willing to give the antivirus, they are not willing to give the knowledge and the database about malware. So how can we face this challenge? Federated learning is a good tool. So it's a good opportunity for the two, let's say, cybersecurity and AI to unify. We are also good at quantum. I'm showing Wallonia, but you can also show that the rest of the country is coming. We have a project QCI in Belgium in where we are going to link all the region of the country with quantum, let's say, key exchange. And later we are going to bounce to space for space communication. So this has less to do with AI, but this is, let's say, a major challenge for which Belgium is again at the top. And you need to see that we are very lucky to be a small country, because replication in quantum computing costs. If you want to replicate above 30 kilometers, you need to put a machine, and this machine is not cheap. So if you want to do this in France between Rennes and Nantes, you need many machines for the 900 kilometers. If you want to do this between Redu and Brussels, to connect the EU commissions, let's say to ESA, this is much cheaper. So to do demonstrator, welcome to Belgium. We can do that. Hardware attack is something fascinating. During a long time, it was claimed that it will not be possible to protect the IoT. So many of my colleagues wrote papers, academic papers, saying we will never protect the IoT. But do you know why? Simply because it will be too expensive to protect the IoT. You know, if you want to protect the IoT, you need more memory, you need more power, and it is against the embedded IoT. So we cannot really protect the hardware, but this is very difficult to do a hardware attack. Why don't we try to simulate potential hardware attack and protect them at the software level that is running on the hardware? This is a key new challenge in cybersecurity, and we are also looking at this. We can't ignore cyber ranges. Cyber ranges are sets of computers in where you have scenarios. So imagine you are the leader of an hospital, and you want to train your people at the hospital to react on a cyber attack. How do you do this? First solution would be to deploy the cyber attack at the hospital level. This is somehow a very bad idea because this could escape. But imagine now that I could replicate an hospital on a bunch of computers that are virtualized, and I could simulate the behavior of the hospital, and I could train my people virtually. This is a cyber range. Cyber range, they exist since 30 to 40 years. They are very old, but they were fixed to one scenario. But now we have Kubernetes, we have all those virtualization processes, so you can have many, many scenarios. And at ESA, we are developing cyber ranges, and we are doing this at the space level. And this is something that the EU Commission is really pushing with the quantum computing. So you need to work on this. But somehow, all this can fail if you stay at the academic level. If you stay in your offices in universities, that's going to fail. So you also need an innovation methodology. You need to talk to people, and you need to create demonstrator and what we call factories. So how do you do that? You do that by having event like today, in where you meet people from different areas. You create networks. I know that we often say in Belgium we talk too much, but this is in cybersecurity we need to talk because there are so many people in so many different places. We need to talk. You create this, and at the end you create demonstrator and factories. And one of the best factories we will have is the one of Diana with the NATO. So it's a big factory in where all the cybersecurity creation from the academic world in Belgium will be lifted so that it's available to the allies in NATO. So it's a success, but you need to have this. You need to have challenges, and you need to make sure that the industry follow the challenges. So you need, let's say, a loop of challenges. I'm going to not spend so many time on this and on the factory, but at the end, when you have this loop of demonstrator, this factory, and this somehow ecosystem, you end up with demonstrator. And in Belgium, we are building very nice demonstrator. We are building public cyber ranges in where your companies and your public sector will be allowed to come to train for free. We are building a quantum lab in where you will be able to train even your quantic internet of tomorrow, also for free. We are, of course, collaborating with ESA and NATO, so there will be a pop-up of demonstrator that are coming soon and that shall be available. Of course, for this to success, you need the administration to accept, to be willing to spend the money of the, let's say it in French to not shock people, plante relance. You need to know that in Belgium, the problem is not the money. The problem is the way we spend the money. And all those demonstrators should have been created 1 year ago. We have also to say that such that later you can complain that they are not yet available. If you talk to the companies, this is what we do in CyberWall, you will see that they will spot many challenges. I will not go into the details of this, but somehow there are two challenges that seem to pop up nowadays. This is the challenges from the automotive sector, and the second one is the space challenges. So in the automotive sector, they talk about connected cars, they talk about embedded cars, they talk about connection of the cars to the cities, and they would like to make sure that all this is secured so that we never see again a car that is controlled by distance. And so basically what they are doing is shifting from safety to security. And this has a huge cost, but they are doing it. And the second sector in where we see a lot of demand is actually the space sector. When I used to be a kid, the space sector was for me a Tintin and a shuttle, you know. But when you grow up, you realize that the space sector is a ground segment, a user segment, and a space segment. You see that you have lots of connections. You see that you have the private sector that is coming into the picture. You see that satellites are aging, but that some people would like to update them from the ground. So actually you see a lot of dangers. And we are really in a situation that people do not foresee yet. But you know, if Elon Musk can send something to the space, one day an enemy will be also able to send a satellite to the space to mechanically or via software destroy satellites from the allies. And there are people trying that. This is not at public level, but people are doing this. And so this is one of the major challenges that we have to face in terms of research and innovation. How do we lift the space sector to the not 21st century, because 21st century is over, but to the 22 centuries with new satellites, CubeNet, and all those things. So those are the challenges in research and innovation. But again, all this works if you solve the training challenges. Encourage vocation. Tell people that they can do cybersecurity, whether they're women, men, or whatever. Just tell them that there are lots of opportunities. You know that cybersecurity is the area in computer science in where there will be the most number of jobs available in the future, and the biggest company will have to reconvert 65% of their job to cybersecurity. So tell them that there are opportunities. Talk to the forgotten talent. And here we enter a debatable scheme, but it's, and this is a guy with 2 PhD theses who is saying this to you. Sometimes it's also good to take people with no diploma. Those people exist, they are talented, and we need to find places for them. Okay, cybersecurity is not all about diploma. You have spaces and jobs for everyone. So don't forget the forgotten talent. Develop the skills. I think Saskia is very active in that, so I will let her show this. But upgrade the people. Upgrade the people. Don't be scared. Tell them that if they change something in their job, their life is not going to end. This is very important to have this culture in company, but also in the public sector, because again, if the public sector doesn't demonstrate this in a country, the company is not going to follow, and this is normal. They will be scared. And of course, don't forget the expert for the very technical and innovation challenges. But you see, the university level is only the area 3 of cybersecurity. You have 3 areas before. And I think Michel is going maybe to talk a bit about fantassin la cybersécurité. So you need sometimes normal people to react to cybersecurity. You don't need experts all the time. The second challenge you need to have in the training sector is to make sure that everything is unified. It's not normal that when you go to Liège, you have one training session of one type, and then when you move to Ghent, you end up with another type of training sector. This is a disaster for a country like Belgium. We have a country of less than 300 kilometers of diameters. We cannot afford anymore to have 20, let's say, training center with 20 different types of training. This we need to change. We need to unify this, and this is a challenge. I'm going to talk for Wallonia, but if you look in Wallonia, you have 5 centers. They are very good people working together, but they have been forced to work in their city at political level most of the time. We need to let those people talk to the people of other cities. Without this, they will not survive at the EU level. And the last challenge is, of course, visibility. If you don't talk to the citizen, at the end, the entry point, the best attack surface is the citizen. So if you don't train the citizen, if you don't have all those sensibilisation campaign at the TV, like what the CCB is doing, people are making fun when the CCB deploy a campaign about don't click to this application. But most of the attack come because people are clicking to some stupid application. So you need that too. You need to talk to people, and you need to get the people aware about what the problem are, because you can protect everything. If the basic secretary disconnect the cybersecurity, your company will be dead. So you need to talk to the people, and this is a challenge, especially after the COVID. So the conclusion of all this is that cybersecurity actors are in Belgium unified for the first time of their life. Of course, you still have some actors that are coming because they want money. We need to erase them. We'll do that. But most of the actors are unified, and they are willing to work together. For the AI people, there are lots of AI challenges linked to cybersecurity. So you are welcome. And I am available to discuss about anything you want about academic training or the industry level. Thank you very much.